Namaskar. We have about 100 coconut trees, apart from cashews and areca nut trees too. A question commonly put to me is how do we extract coconut oil? So let's go on a small tour. I'll show you the coconut trees and later also the process of how we extract coconut oil. Here we are amidst the coconut orchard, and as you can see, some of these trees have started to fruit, and you can see the coconuts in the higher reaches of these trees. Because it's a very sunny day with harsh sunlight, there's a lot of contrast between the sunlit areas and the shaded areas, but I hope you can see some of these coconuts as I go closer. When they reach a certain size and start to dry on the tree, that's the time when we know that it is ready to be plucked. Now let us remove a few of these coconuts to show you. Thank you very much, Sachin. Here they are, two lovely fresh coconuts right from the tree. Okay, now we are back in the shade of the hut. This is a really nice, huge coconut, very big sized, lovely sized coconut that we have got fresh from the tree. It's dried, it's become a seed. If I dig a hole, plant this in the ground, give it adequate manure and water, it will sprout and become a coconut sapling. And on further nurturing, it will grow up to be a tree, which after 8 years will start giving us its own seed. So this is this. If I shake this a bit, you will hear the sound of water. There's still fresh water inside this coconut. This is the coconut which, when we peel the outer skin and remove the inner coconut, this is how the nut looks. This is the one which is sold in the markets, and in South India, right from south of the Vindhyas, from Maharashtra onwards till Kanyakumari, coconut is a very, very important ingredient in most of our food preparations. But for the oil, what do? We do not break open the seed at this stage. We let it dry in the sun for a while, and slowly the liquid content inside starts to dry up, and the kernel within starts to solidify, and that is the right stage for us to break this open, which I will show you in a while. As this dries, this also starts to shrink a bit, and if I can show you some older ones, this is how they look. Once they are a little shrunken, they have dried, and if I shake this, there's not much of water content inside this. These are the ones which are dried out in the sun, which we are going to break open, and then the kernel itself we shall slice into small pieces. We have now sun dried the slices of the coconut kernel, and we are now ready to go to the cold press to extract the coconut oil. Cold press implies that the machine operates at such a speed that it does not heat the coconut content beyond a certain degree, normally accepted as less than 50. In India, traditionally, we have had a lot of wood-based cold press machines, which we call kachi ghani in Hindi, and these were present all over this country, employing local designs. And the important thing was all of them used a mechanical, non-chemical, purely mechanical extraction method, and which involved using wooden moving parts which crushed, in this case, the coconut, or it could be any other vegetable oil seed, and it always maintained a low temperature of the oil being extracted. And this is very important because in chemical solvent extraction or in very high grade mechanical presses, one can see that the temperature rises to 80, 90, in chemical processes even 150 degrees centigrade, which is not good at all because it disturbs the molecular structure and bonding itself of the oil being extracted, and therefore is not good for us. In ordinary language, we would say it is not pure. So let us go now to the cold press machine where we shall extract oil from these flakes which we have just sun dried. This oil extraction machine uses electrical power but with lower intensity, similar to the kachi ghani of olden days. The movement is slow, and you can see that the main parts involved in the grinding process are made of wood. As the coconut flakes start to be pressed, the oil within flows down and is collected at the bottom. As you can see, the fresh oil collected has a color to it, and that is quite natural. As it settles down over time, it will become more clear. We have now our own coconut oil. We have got from this batch about 20 liters, and what we shall do now is to let it rest unattended and undisturbed, so that some of the fibrous material which is physical content in this oil in microscopic sizes, they will all settle down towards the bottom of this container, and soon they will even solidify to the extent that once we start pouring out the oil, the bottom part will not get disturbed. I have been told earlier by many experienced villagers that when you store the oil, it is good in fact to have some of this content at the bottom, the fibrous content of the oil seed, in this case coconut, because it helps maintain and it provides a longevity to this oil. Another useful tip from my village women here was to put some methi seeds into the coconut oil, as this too helps it from going rancid quickly. So don't be surprised if you find some methi seeds at the bottom of the oil bottles that come from this farm. A common question and a relevant question that is asked often by my friends and visitors to the farm is, what is virgin coconut oil? What is extra virgin coconut oil? There is no such thing as extra virgin coconut oil, and even the term virgin coconut oil we are using because of our continued obeisance to anything that happens that comes from the West. They have named virgin olive oil to mean olive oil which is extracted from a mechanical method and which is unrefined. Now, if you want this to mean and communicate that it is cold pressed and it is unrefined, then yes, the coconut oil which we have just seen extracted fresh right now is from a cold press, is unrefined, and well, there is not a drop of chemical in this case, in our case, right from growing the coconut trees itself to the extraction process. We would not call it that. We would just say unfiltered oil, or we would say unrefined oil. These are the words we were using earlier. But of late, the word virgin coconut oil has come in to imitate virgin olive oil. We imitate so many things, our clothes, our dresses, the way we do our hairstyles, our political categorizations, left, right, all these come from the West. Our economic system comes from the West. So it's no surprise to me at all that even in the field of farming and agriculture, we are using all these terms. In the West, extra virgin olive oil does have a meaning because they have given it a definition. My friends who consume olive oil in Western Europe tell me that the olive oil which has less than 0.08% of free acidity or free fatty acids, that is termed as extra virgin olive oil, which is just a little more pure form of virgin olive oil. But here we have no such definition set in place. These terms do not even come from our society or from our thought process. So let's leave it at that. What you have to understand when you buy coconut oil is ask them, one, how was it grown? Very few people talk about the naturally grown coconut, because if the coconut itself is grown with urea, with a lot of toxic chemicals being put into it, then that is part of the coconut content itself. So naturally grown is one thing. The second is, of course, whether it's cold pressed, and the third is that there should be no refining process, and all through this process there should be not a drop, not a whiff of any chemical present in that. So many of my friends use the coconut oil which is produced here, so I thought we should make a small video showing the process, and also inviting further comments and questions about coconut oil itself. All of us know that coconut oil is one of the most healthiest of oils to be applied externally on the hair, on the skin, and to be consumed internally also. There are some cuisine cultures in India, in the south, which use coconut oil quite liberally in cooking. But aside from that, even consuming it raw, which is called, I think, oil pulling, they call it now. All these things are being promoted, which is a good thing. Awareness is being created. But one important fact, let me share with you: coconut oil has a content which no other food item, in my knowledge, has, and it has something that mother's milk has, which nothing else can provide. So till next time, then, stay healthy, stay happy. Namaskar.